few days ago, 3 thugs tried to mug me. I had my pieces.
Your pieces?
My guns.
Oh.
Anyway, I started blasting. Bang!
Wow.
Bang! Well, I don't see so good, so I missed. Then they ran away. I ran after them. But I don't run so good either. Anyway,
Standard may
look,
have...
crime in this city is out of control. Thank God I went and picked up a spare. I don't think one would have done it. I'm going to go out and buy some more.
Okay.
And I think you should, too. Don't be a victim. It's time to fight back.
The Second Amendment to the United States Constitution. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Our founding fathers were some of the greatest geniuses that we have ever known to live in history. They created this great country, and the Constitution they wrote absolutely protects us from any tyranny the government or anybody else may try and inflict on us. Now, what is the Second Amendment for? Well, that's to protect us from not only foreign invaders, but domestic invaders as well. Domestic meaning if your government gets out of control, well, you got an option there to protect yourself. We all know that President Biden has been trying to get guns really restricted, and it almost seems like he doesn't want Americans having guns at all. And I mean, you unarm the American population, and the US suddenly is going to be a pushover when it comes to anything government and when it comes to any other country. One of the reasons the US will never be invaded is that 80%, and that's not including the people with illegal guns, 80% of our population is armed with weapons. So let's go ahead and see what he did exactly. Biden announces huge gun restrictions. Dealers forced to stamp guns with new serial numbers in some cases. The Biden administration is going after so-called ghost guns, privately made firearms without serial numbers, in an attempt to revive President Joe Biden's stalled domestic agenda. Now, I've seen these weapons. These are weapons that you make yourself. They don't come manufactured already. You can customize each part the way that you want it. You can create some pretty good firearms with it. However, they don't want that because, remember, Uncle Sam wants to keep an eye on everything you do. As part of its efforts to revive the anti-gun agenda upon which Biden ran for the White House, the administration also announced Monday its nomination to Steve Dettelbach, I believe that's how you say it, a former U.S. attorney from Ohio, to run for Federal Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosive, The ATFE? Well, Biden's first nominee, anti-gun zealot David Chipman, faced headwinds in the Senate that showed little interest in confirming him. His nomination was withdrawn in September. United States citizens, people in the US, they love their weapons. Not only for safety, not only for protecting yourself, not only for protecting your family, but just knowing that if this government ever goes ape shit, then they're gonna have to come after the American people first. And that is why this administration is trying to take away guns. Now, they are trying to start with the AR-15s. And the AR-15s are going after because the AR-15 is the #1 owned assault rifle in the United States. It's the most common one. Now, the funny thing is that, and here's something that not a lot of people know, the AR-15 it's very good because it's very reliable. There are actually much more dangerous assault weapons that you can get besides the AR-15 in the United States. Gun control groups applauded the Dettelbach nomination. And let's see what happened here. From Everytown on Twitter, Steve Dettelbach will be the strong leader the ATF-HQ, needs to implement at POTUS gun safety agenda. With decades of experience as a prosecutor, Dettelbach will be ready to provide strong enforcement of our gun laws from day one. Now, I'm just gonna bet something real quick here. I guarantee none of these people have ever held a gun, fired a gun, but yet all of their security are probably armed to the teeth. You know, and I figure you're gonna take away the Americans' guns, you know, your security better have their guns taken away too, but oh man. No. They're not going to like that very much, are they? So let's go on and see what happened exactly. The Associated Press reported, however, that his confirmation is likely to be an uphill battle for the Biden administration, and there's a reason for that. It's not just Republicans. There are Democrats who also support gun laws. I mean, look at the places with the most strict gun laws in the United States. Look at places like New York. Look at places like California. Look at places like New Jersey. They have some of the highest gun rate crimes in the United States. Why? Because nobody can protect themselves. You can't carry a gun. If someone breaks into your house and you happen to shoot them, well, you're the one who's going to prison. I mean, the stupidity behind that is just beyond anything I have ever heard. Let's go and continue here. A White House fact sheet, said Biden, and Deputy Attorney General Lisa Monaco would announce the Department of Justice's final rule on ghost guns, including a Rose Garden ceremony on Monday. The administration began the process a year ago, according to Fox News. This final rule bans the businesses of manufacturing the most accessible ghost guns, such as unserialized buy, build, shoot kits that individuals can buy online or at a store without a background check and can readily assemble into a working firearm in as little as 30 minutes with equipment they have at home, the fact sheet said. Well, maybe if you're a very experienced gun owner, but usually, yeah, it's going to take a lot more than 30 minutes, and even after that, you're going to treat that gun like you're going to treat any other assault weapon. Now, all weapons are assault weapons. There's not a single weapon out there that you can't use as an assault weapon. They're all dangerous. They all require safety. You have to know what you're doing around guns. Don't keep them around the little ones. Don't keep them around anybody who you do not trust. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, I mean, with ghost guns, just like a normal gun, they should have a serial number, which I find... I really don't find anything wrong with that, having a serial number on them. However, we're talking about the federal government here. And just look at the DMV, for example, how hard it is and how much shit it takes just to get your driver's license. Can you imagine what they're going to do with something like a ghost gun? It's going to be absolutely outrageous. This rule clarifies that these kits qualify as firearms under the Gun Control Act, and that commercial manufacturers of such kits must therefore become licensed and include serial numbers on the kit's frame and receiver. And commercial sellers of these kits must become federally licensed and run background checks prior to sell, just like they have to do with other commercially made firearms. Now again, I don't find a problem with that. The only thing is that you give them an inch and they will take a mile. They will keep going with this until they eventually go for trying to take away all of your weapons. And if you don't believe me, just keep an eye on the future if this passes, and they are going to keep going and going. The number one thing they want right now is they want Americans to be unarmed. Because as of right now, they know they can't go overboard because they know a majority of the population is armed at the moment. For example, if an individual builds a firearm at home and then sells it to a pawnbroker or another federally licensed dealer, the dealer must put a serial number on the weapon before selling it to a customer, it said. The requirement will apply regardless of how firearms was made, meaning it includes ghost guns made from individual parts kits by 3D printers. Now, that is another issue, is the 3D printer. You can build almost anything out of 3D printers nowadays. The DOJ says it recovered more than 23,000 ghost guns between 2016 and 2020. On Friday, the NRA denounced a new Maryland ghost gun ban. The gun rights organization said in a news release that the Maryland legislation is overly broad and will end the centuries-old practice of individuals building lawful firearms for personal use. And you gotta remember, back in the day, back when our Constitution was written, no, you were not going to go out and easily just buy a gun. You were going to most likely have to build your own musket, and even then, people complain, oh, well, back then, they didn't think they were going to have firearms like we have nowadays. It's like, no. Our founding fathers knew that eventually technology was going to catch up, and that weapons would also catch up. They wanted to make sure that Americans were armed no matter what, and that the government could never get too tyrannical with it. It requires anyone who wishes to keep their previously legal items to have federal firearms licensee apply for a serial number to them, and then the owner must register them with the police state. Violations of selling or transferring, while misdemeanors, are punishable by up to 5 years of imprisonment, which results in permanent loss of Second Amendment rights, the NRA said. The administration had urged to move faster on a ghost gun ban by Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer of New York. Now, Chuck Schumer, I don't doubt it from him. That fool is one of the most dangerous people in DC as of this moment. As for what he plans for the United States, I cannot imagine it's anything good. It's high time for a ghost gun exorcism before the proliferation peaks and before people get hurt, or worse, the Democrat said in a statement on Sunday, according to the AP. My message is a simple one. No more waiting on these proposed federal rules. Ghost guns, Schumer said, are too easy to build, too hard to trace, and too dangerous to ignore. Guns that are used in murders, that are used in gang violence, that are used in violence in general, those are illegal guns. Those are off the streets. They weren't built, they weren't bought at a gun shop. Many of them were smuggled into this country or some other way. I don't know any gun owners who have ever used their own gun to kill somebody or to shoot anybody. In fact, most people I know who have ever owned a gun have never had to use it. Sure, you'll go out and fire it for practice and to make sure the gun stays stable, but that is it. So don't let this one trick you. Yes, it sounds like a good idea to put serialization on these ghost guns, but like I said, you give them an inch and they'll take a mile. And trust me, once they get this going, they're going to keep pushing and pushing and pushing until they eventually ban all assault rifles, which again, these idiots do not understand that all weapons are assault weapons. All weapons are capable of killing or seriously injuring somebody. So that's what I got for you guys right now. I hope you guys look into this a little bit further. And if I see any updates on this, I'll go ahead and update y'all. Otherwise, that's all I got for today. I'll see y'all later.